Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing good today. Here's our warm-up to start off the day. We are going to be practicing order of operations. So remember PEMDAS from way back, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. So go ahead and solve these really quickly and enter your answers into the question boxes. So today we are going to learn how to put everything together, okay? We have learned how to do translations, reflections, rotations, and dilations. And now we are going to sequence them. So we're going to do 2 or 3 or 4 of them at a time, step by step, okay? One of the things I really want to emphasize is take your time. You're going to do one transformation at a time, use your rules, and I would even say, please write stuff down. Okay, there's too many places to mix up your X and Y values and your positives and negatives as we're going through and doing these rules. So if you're not writing them down, you're actually making it harder for yourself to be accurate. Okay, so I would highly suggest writing them down. So gather your rules and we're going to start working through some of these sequences of transformations. All right, so first of all, what does a sequence of transformations look like? Okay, it is taking a figure, our pre-image, and doing more than one transformation to it. So if you look at this one, it gives us this triangle, this black triangle ABC. And it shows that it was reflected over here in the red. So this became ABC prime. And then this same figure was translated +3 - 5 and becomes this blue figure down here, or double prime ABC. Okay, so this is a sequence. It was done in an order and it gets us to a final product down here in this blue triangle. Okay, here's another example of a sequence of transformations. Okay, you're starting here with triangle ABC. You know this is your pre-image because you'll notice that it's ABC and it doesn't have any primes. So this has been translated 10 units to the right. So here's our ABC prime. And then it was reflected over the x-axis to get to ABC double prime. Okay, so being able to recognize that this slid over and then reflected is important for you to be able to recognize the sequence of events that are making this original pre-image become this double prime image here. Here's another example. So here we have a pre-image. We are reflecting the image over here. And then we are reflecting the image down. So we did a reflection over the Y, a reflection over the X, and now we have a new image down here. Okay, so we're just going through what it looks like, how it kind of works, and now we're going to start putting things together, okay, being able to actually find some of these sequences, okay? So here is an example. Okay, the blue triangle is the pre-image. The brown, or I guess it's kind of orange triangle, is the image. Take a minute and look and see if you can determine what the sequence was. What came first? What came second? So hopefully you came up with the first was a reflection over the x-axis. We reflected it down. And then it was translated or slid over. It was translated 5 in the X and 0 in the Y. Okay, so hopefully you're starting to see some of these patterns as they go through. Here's another one. Okay, image A is our pre-image. How did we get to image C? Okay, so hopefully you recognize that we reflected it over along the y-axis, so reflected on the y-axis, and then it actually is rotated 90 degrees clockwise. Okay, so if you start looking, we're reflecting it over, we're rotating it. Okay, that's how that one was done. Okay, what about this one? How did we get from this image down here to this image up here? Okay, so hopefully you guys chose B, rotated and then translated. It rotated 90 degrees clockwise and then it translated up and over, okay? Here's another one to try. What do you think for this one? What is being done to get from our original pre-image to our new image? Okay, so hopefully you guys recognize that it was A. It was translated over and then reflected over the x-axis for that one. Okay, we're going to try one more and see how we recognize this next one. This next one again is going from this pre-image up here in the left to this image down here. What was done? Okay, this was a tougher one, okay? So you had to really try to visualize it. So this figure was actually rotated 90 degrees and then reflected across the x-axis. So it would have been B. Okay, if you're struggling with some of this, that's okay. We're just trying to visualize them. Now we're going to start actually using rules and taking a pre-image and finding an image, okay? So this is where having your rules handy and writing your steps down is going to be very helpful. Okay, so we are going to take this triangle right here and we're going to use this sequence to find what our final image is going to be. So we're going to translate it, reflect it, and then rotate it. Okay, so we're going to go through and work through what this problem is going to look like. Okay, so you can see I kind of wrote some stuff and color coded down before we even got started. So I wrote my rules, I wrote down the original ABC point, and now we are going to use these rules to find the next step. So the first one we're going to do is the translation, okay? And this becomes our ABC prime. Okay, so we're going to take our original points. We're going to add 4 to the x, subtract 3 from the y. So 2 plus 4 is 6. Negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. Negative 2 plus 4 is 2. 5 minus 3 is 2. Negative 4 plus 4 is 0. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So I've done my first step of the transition or of the sequence, and now I'm going to go to my double prime step, which is my reflection. And you'll notice I already wrote my rule there. We're doing x and negative y. So we're just going to take these points in the green and apply them to the next one. So I already know my x value is going to stay the same. So I should just write those down so I don't mix them up. And now I am going to take the y value and make it be the opposite side. So if it starts negative, it becomes positive. If it starts positive, it becomes negative. So this one is going to become a positive 5, a negative 2, and a positive 1. So now I am going to do my last step or my triple prime to find my final image for this transformation. And you'll see I wrote my rule up there, y negative x. So I am going to start by moving my y values to become my x values because that's what it's telling me. Take your y, now they're your x. And now I'm going to look at my x values and make them all the opposite signs. So this one would become a negative 6, a negative 2. 0 stays 0. We don't have a negative 0. It's just 0. So my new figure would be 5, negative 6. This is A. Negative 2, negative 2. And 1, 0. And this blue triangle, even though my line's not super straight, this blue triangle is the image for this sequence that we just went through. So you can see how important it is, excuse me, to write down each step, write down each rule, and not leave any extra area for making mistakes. Okay, so we're going to try another one. This one is going to have us rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, translate, and then do a dilation, okay? So again, your first step is to figure out where your original points are. Then you figure out what your rules are, and then you start working on applying them. So I'm going to just pause for quite a little second for you to find your ABC and figure out your rules, and then we will work through the finding of our points together. Okay, so hopefully you were able to get your stuff set up. I am going to pull up my other screen again. Okay, and you'll see that I wrote my rules out. I kind of went color-coded so that I could keep myself straight, and I found my original points ABC. Okay, so we're going to work through this together. The first thing we're going to do is use this rule for our 90-degree counterclockwise, which is negative yx. So I am going to take my y and make it a negative here. So this becomes negative 7, 7. I am going to make this be a negative 4, 7, and this one is going to become a negative 4, 12. Notice my x values all stayed the same. I just changed my sign on my y. Okay, so now I am going to do my double prime, which is my translation, where it tells me I'm taking my x value and subtracting 12, my y value and adding 2. So negative 7 minus 12 is actually negative 19, and 7 plus 2 is 9. Then I have this next one. It is going to be negative 4 minus 12 is negative 16. 7 plus 2 is 9. And the last one, negative 4 minus 12 is negative 16, and 12 plus 2 is 14. Okay, so now we're to our last step for our triple prime image, and it is to dilate by k equals a half. So I wrote up here, there's two ways you could do this. You could times by a half or divide by 2. Either one is going to get you to the same answer. Okay, and you'll notice that we're going to come up with some fractions. I'm okay with you turning them into decimals because when you are graphing, decimals do make a little bit more sense. Either way, though, you're going to get the same answer. So I'll write them both ways. Okay, so we're going to just divide by 2. So negative 19 divided by 2, 9 divided by 2. Negative 16 divided by 2, 9 divided by 2. Negative 16 divided by 2, 14 divided by 2. So that means I'm just going to rewrite it for people so that it's a little simpler, okay? So negative 19 divided by 2 is actually negative 9.5. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. Okay, this one is a nice even 8 and 4.5. And this is a nice even numbers as well. So this would be your new triangle if you were going to graph it. We don't need to take time to graph it, but this is your solution for this sequence that starts here and goes through all of those steps. Okay, so now I'm going to have you guys try these next 3 on your own. Okay, we'll go step by step, but next 3 of them on your own. I'm going to only have you practice 2 transformations for right now. We'll eventually get to 3 and 4 like we were practicing, but we're going to just start with 2. So this first example, you need to translate first, and it gives you this rule, and then reflect over the y-axis. Okay, so take a minute and see if you can find the answer to that one. Okay, so here is another one. We're starting with points, and you are now going to reflect first and then translate. Okay, so reflect first and then translate. Okay, so here's the last one you guys are going to try. This one is a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise and then a reflection over the x-axis. So rotate first and then reflect. Okay, so hopefully you're feeling pretty comfortable with sequences of transformations. We're going to spend the rest of the week working on this as well. Your assignment now is posted in our Google Classroom. It is a 1-question exit ticket that has you go through a sequence of transformations and explain your steps and the rules you're using to be able to find it. Okay, like always, if you have questions, come to office hours and let me know how I can help you. Have a good day.